Hi everyone, in this video we will build a modern header and hero section in React.js with smooth hover effect and auto typing text animation and interactive social media links all from scratch. By the end of this video, you will have a clean professional hero section ready to use in your portfolio. To build this section, we will go through a few simple steps. We will start with setting up the React project and organizing the folder structure. Then we will build the header and hero section, and finally add the typing animation and hover effects. To create a React project, we need to install Node.js in our system. To check this, open cmd and type node-v. If you see a version number like this, then your Node.js is installed. Now to create a React project, we use this command create React app portfolio. Here npx means Node Package Executor. It allows us to run a package directly without installing it globally on our system. So we don't need to install manually. In simple word, npx run tools and then removes it. Now to open this project in VS Code, first go to the project cd portfolio. Now here type code dot, then press enter. Now here inside this source folder, we create an images folder. We are going to use this image in our project. For that, I will provide you a link of image in the description from where you can download it, and here inside this images folder, paste it. Now back to the source folder, create another folder with the name components. In React, we don't build the whole website in one file. Instead, we break the website into small parts called components. In our case, we have two components, header and home section. This makes our code easier to understand and easier to manage. So now inside the component folder, let's create our first component, the header. And here is the second component, home. Now look here at the left sidebar, you can see here is index.js file. Index.js file is the starting point of your app. This tells your React start your app by displaying the app component on the page. But before all that, we are going to run this project. For that, open the terminal and write npm start. Now this will open your project in the browser. This is the content that has been shown in your app component. Now close this terminal. Now inside this app component, you see we have this text. Let me remove this by selecting all with Ctrl+A. Now first we write this line because we want to write React components. Now we create a function called app. This is where we start using our components. Inside the app function, we use a return statement, and this tells React what should be displayed on the screen. So basically, whatever we write inside the return will show up on our website. Now we write these empty brackets. These are called React fragments, and they let us wrap multiple elements together without adding extra HTML tags like a div. Now after these React fragments, we are going to export this function. Now inside the app component, we are going to use the header component. But before using it, we need to customize the header component first. So for that, let's go to the header file. Now inside this file, we are going to import React again, so I can create our component. After that, we create a function called header, and just like before, we return some JSX from it. Inside the return, we use the header tag because it represents the top section of a website. Anything that usually appears at the top, like a logo, navigation menu, or site title, goes inside this tag. Here, instead of using class like in normal HTML, we use class name. This allows us to attach CSS styles to this element. The name header is just something we choose so we can style this section inside our index.css file. We also give it an ID. Think of an ID as a unique name for this section. We use it for navigation links. So when someone clicks a link like home, the image can scroll directly to this section using header. Next, we use a tag for the logo. An a tag is simply a link and clicking the logo will take us back to the top of the page. We give it a class name of logo so we can style it separately from other links. Inside the logo, we wrap the text in a span. This allows us to style just that part with a different color. Now that our header component is ready, we export this function. Then in the app.js file, we import the header component and use header tag inside the return. Once we check the browser, you will see the logo showing up. Now let's go back to the header file and add a navigation bar. We use the navigation tag and give it a class name of navbar. Inside this, we add multiple a tags. First home, then education, services, testimonials, and finally contact. If we check in the browser again, you can see this logo along with all the navigation links. To style everything, we go to the index.css file. First select everything using Ctrl+A and delete it so we can start fresh. And finally, the custom fonts in React, we need to install a dependency. So for that, close the current terminal, open a new one. Now in this terminal, run this command npmi font awesome free. While this dependency is installing, let's move to the index.css file. At the top of this file, we import the Poppins font for Google Fonts. This line allows us to use the Poppins font across our entire website. Without this import, the browser will use its default font instead. Once the installation is complete, we can verify it by opening the package.json file. Here you will see that the font awesome dependency has been added successfully. Now let's go back to the CSS file. Here we are going to create CSS variables. You can think of these as shortcut names for our colors, making them easy to reuse and update later. In this we have this main color, white color, text color, background color, second background color, light color. After that we use the universal selector. This applies the styles to every element on the page. First we set the font family to Poppins. This ensures the same font style is used throughout the entire website. Next, browser add their own spacing by default, so we can remove that by setting margin and padding to 0. Then we set box sizing to border box, so padding and borders don't break out our layout. We also apply text transform capitalize, which automatically capitalize the first letter of each word across the app. After that, we add a transition. This gives smooth animation whenever we hover over elements. Finally, we set text decoration to none to remove underline from links. So overall, this section reset the default browser styles and give us a clean, smooth design to work with. Now let's style the scroll bar. This line targets the scroll bar itself. The width control how thick the scroll bar is, and height is used for horizontal scrolling. Here we set the width to 1 rem and height to 10 rem. Next, we style the scroll bar track. This is the background area of scroll bar. We set it transparent so it doesn't distract from the design. Finally, we style the scroll bar thumb, the part we drag. Here we give it our main theme as it matches the overall website design. Next, we use HTML selector. We set the font size to 63.5%. This defines the base font size of the entire website. We do this using rem units. For example, 1 rem becomes almost equal to 10 pixels, which makes sizing simple and consistent. Now inside the body tag, we set the background color using our CSS variable. This applies the same dark background color across the whole website. So overall, this line helps us control text sizing easily and maintain our consistent background throughout the app. After that, let's go back to the header.js file, copy the header class name, move to the CSS file and paste it with a dot so we can style it. Here we set the position to fixed. This means the header will stick to the top of the screen. Even when we scroll, the header stays visible. Then we set top 0, left 0 and right to 0. This makes the header stretch across the full width of the screen. Next, we add a Z index of 100. The Z index controls which element stays on top. A higher value means higher priority, so this keeps our header above all other sections. We also set the background to transparent. This allows the content behind the header to remain visible. Align item center vertically aligns everything, and justify content space between pushes the logo to the left and the menu to the right. Then we add some padding for inner spacing and a margin at the bottom for separation. Next, we style the logo. We increase its font size, change the color, and make it bold as it stands out. Inside the logo, we style the span element. This lets us change the color of text and highlight the name. After that, we style the navigation links. Here we control their size, color and spacing so they look clean and well organized. Finally, we highlighted the active link. By changing its color and adding an underline, the user can clearly see which section is currently active. So overall, these styles make our header fixed, clean, well organized, always visible at the top of the page. Now to add a hover effect, we use .header, .navbar, a hover. Inside this, we set color into main, text decoration underline. In the browser, you can see this when we hover, it shows this color and underline. In this section, we add padding. Here we import React. Now here we will import our image that we used in images folder. To use icon, we import it, font awesome, free, CSS all. Now after this we create function with the name of home. Inside it we again write return. Inside this return we use this section. Now after this we will export this function. And use in app.js file. Here we import home and then use in those. Now here we will give class name home, id home. After that we create a div container with the class name content. Inside this we write h1 tag. In this we use span tag. Now in the browser you can see this text. Now after this h1 tag we create h3 tag with the class name text animation. Here we use span tag. Now after this h3 tag, we use p tag with the class name animate and add some random text. Here after this p tag, we create another container with the class name icons and animate. Inside this, we use I tag, give it class FA. Let me duplicate it. Now I will write LinkedIn, GitHub, Instagram, Twitter. Now in the browser you can see this p tag text. Now after this we create another container with the class name flex button and animate. Inside this we create an anchor tag with the class name button and higher. After this we create another anchor tag with the class name button. In which we write contact. In the browser you can see both buttons. Now after that we use image tag for the image. The source we use this boy. In the source we link our image with the class name animate. In the browser you can see this image. In the h3 tag we use animate and in container also animate. Now copy this home class name and use in CSS file with dot. Inside this we add minimum height 110 VH, display flex, align item center, justify content center, gap 5 frame. In the browser you can see a gap between this text and this image. Now go to the home.js file, copy this dot home, copy this dot content and use in CSS file with dot. Here we add display flex, flex flow column Align item start. Justify content center. Gap 1 rem with 100%. Now copy this h1 tag and use in CSS file. In which we add font size 8 rem, color text color, in the browser you can see this change. Add text transform capitalize. Now copy this span tag and use in CSS file in which we add color, now copy this h3 tag, give it font size 4 rem, color, text transform capitalize. Now copy this p tag and use in CSS file. Give it color, font size, text transform, line height 1.5 rem, width 50 rem, margin bottom 1 rem. Text line left. Now copy this flex button and use in CSS file with dot. Display inline block. Margin left minus 10 pixel, width 100 pixel. Now copy this button and use in CSS file with dot. Give it a color. Background color, padding 1 rem 4 rem, font size, padding 1 rem and 4 rem, font size 2 rem, font weight 500, border 0.2 rem solid, border radius 3 rem, margin left 10 pixel. In the browser you can see the changes. Now copy this higher and use in CSS file with dot. Give it background color. Color. Border none. Now to add hover effect, we use hover. Give it background color. Color. Border none. Now copy this dot icons and use in CSS file. Give it color. Font size 2 rem. Padding 1 rem. Border radius 50%. Width 70 pixel. Now to add hover effect, we use hover. Give it cursor pointer. Background color main color. Color text color. Now in the browser you can notice those changes. Now to style this image, copy this image and use in CSS file with dot. Give it border radius 50%, height 47 rem, width 47 rem. Object fit cover. Now to add a hover effect over the image, use hover. Give a box shadow 0, 0, 2.5 and color. Now to add the text animation, copy this text animation and use in CSS file. Give it font size 2 rem, color text color, text transform capitalize, minimum width 28 rem, font weight 600. Copy this span and use in CSS file. Give it position relative. Now we add before effect. Content web developer. Color main color. Animation words 20-second infinite. Now we add after effect, in which we add content empty, background color bg color. Height 100%, border left 3 pixels solid. Background color. Right -8 pixel. To perform animation, we use animation cursor 0.67 infinite. Now to add animation, we use keyframes cursor. In which we write 2, border left 2 pixels solid, main color. Now to add other keyframes for words. From 0 to 20%, content is set to front-end developer. Now we use another keyframes, typing. Now after this we use dot animate, opacity 0, transform, translate x minus 60 pixel. Now use dot animate dot show animation, slide in left 0.8 second, ease out forwards. Now in this add transition. Now to use on scroll animation, create another component in components folder. Use scroll animation.js file. Inside this, first import React, export. After that, create a function, use scroll animation. Inside that, add a use effect. In which create a constant animated elements document.querySelector.animate. Now copy this use scroll animation and import it to header.js file. Also in home.js file. Now create use scroll animation function inside header file and in home file. Now in the browser you can see our auto type effect is working correctly. But here we have to add gap. For that, go to CSS file and add margin top 3 rem. Now to add gap between these icons, we set .home.content.icons. Now in the browser you can see our hero section is completed.